And there's even more cool things. GA4 also supports all of the different attribution models you are used to seeing, like model comparison, when you want to compare last non-direct click to first click or linear. Any of these static algorithm-based attribution models are supported in GA4, but it also supports the data-driven attribution model. Instead of super smart people creating these models, there's also machine learning that needs to be considered when it comes to attribution, because this is how it continually gets smarter and smarter as it takes into consideration not just the marketing touch points that resulted in conversions, but also things like sessions that didn't convert or things that were abandoned, and really all of the different things that impact the conversion process. And this data-driven option is built right out of the box in GA4 in the advertising attribution section model comparison report. You can add a secondary dimension to the model comparison tool. If you actually want to go ahead and switch the model to a data-driven attribution, you can just log in if you're an admin and select it. This data-driven way is definitely the way to start thinking about attribution. The idea of changing the attribution model may freak some people out if all of a sudden credit to different campaigns and channels shift, but you just have to remember there's always the model comparison report. So you can always compare the data-driven to the last click, non-direct click, if you wanted to kind of compare what things look like historically to what they look like in a data-driven world. Another thing you can do as browsers continue to aggressively deprecate cookies. So obviously your campaigns and your channels aren't going to stop working when the cookies go away. Just want to make that very clear. But what might happen is that the credit is shifted to a different campaign or a different channel, or more credit is shifted to direct. In the model comparison, you can compare two different attribution models and then add a secondary dimension. So with this, you can actually see for yourself the impact of cookie deprecation on different browsers. This is a good report if people are questioning performance, because the numbers are sort of shifting as far as where the credit is being allocated for different campaigns or different channels. You can actually show them and not have to go down the whole path of explaining cookie deprecation. Conversion paths can be found in the Advertising Attribution section Conversion Paths report. In this report, you can actually see the number of touch points that it takes to result in a conversion, as well as the time to conversion. Again, this is a default channel in GA4, but you can actually drill down to a campaign level in the template gallery. I really recommend that when you log into GA4 that you do some looking around. For example, to find what I'm showing you here on this screen, you would go into Explore, and then there's a blue box that says Template Gallery. This is a great place to start looking around. The User Explorer report is a little bit more complex, but it allows you to see data at a user level. Yes, this is a report in Google Analytics, but in GA4, you can really customize it and add segments and different metrics and dimensions. Here you can really get to the specific audience lists that, again, you can push into Google Ads, Campaign Manager, and all of that. With so much user info, you can now do things like, for example, say you were running a promotion on a specific day, and you want to create an audience for people who visited on that day but didn't convert. You can now do exactly that and other things like that with these Explore reports. Another cool thing is that a lot of the time, analysts are asked one-off or ad hoc questions. And before, you would have to run a report or create a segment or do something like that to get the answer. Now there's a search bar where you can just type the question. So for example, how many conversions were there yesterday? And the answer will pop up and be added to your clipboard. So now you can just ask Google Analytics a question, copy and paste the answer into an email, and send it to the person who asked. That's it. You can get answers to people so much faster. So we covered some of these things in this video, but there are lots that we didn't even touch on. So we will cover them in future topics. Topics like BigQuery, which is a great way to get your data out of analytics. Remember, when GA sunsets, your data becomes read-only, and in 6 months after that, it's going to disappear completely. So to keep that data, you are going to have to export it, and Google BigQuery is a great option for this. There's an integration, and even better, it is free. Users may establish links between Google Analytics for properties and display and video 360 advertisers. So linking to display and video 360 supports the following features. Users will see attributed display and video 360 traffic appear in their GA4 cross-channel reporting. Eligible GA4 audiences will be exported to display and video 360 for use in campaign targeting. And GA4 conversions will be exported to display and video 360 for use in display and video 360 custom bidding algorithms. It's a lot of saying the same thing. Again, I really can't say this enough. We recommend getting GA4 up and running as soon as possible and having it just sit side by side next to GA or GA360. By doing this, you'll be collecting data, but you'll also be giving yourself time to get comfortable with the new features and the new interface of GA4. So if your goal, and I think your goal should be to have your dual tagging set up by October 1st, 2022, this is going to give you an entire year of data alongside your GA or UA, GA360 or UA data. And that's going to be huge. You do not want to come to October 1st and you have, a week or zero amount of data in your GA4. So we really suggest doing this as soon as you possibly can. If you have questions about anything we've covered or things we haven't covered but you would like to know more about, or even the transition process, please send us an email or reach us on LinkedIn and we'll get answers to you right away. If you have accessed this recording through GoToWebinar, you're going to be redirected to a feedback form where you can add your questions and they will be sent directly to us. You can also do a self-assessment on where you are when it comes to GA4 and what your next step should be.